which is used in Barolos, which is also quite water resistant.
Oh, so actually you get now the European varieties there, Tempranillo and Neolodavalo.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of those now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is this actually a debate in the Stellenbosch region that people are concerned about the drought and whether the region should do something like a collective action or something?
So yes, there has been massive debate about it. One of them has more to do with politics because they were supposed to do like a water desalination plant something like 12, 15 years ago. And then at the time, it was just a weird debate because it was a plan that was put in place when the DA was ruling Western Cape, and then they lost power to the ANC. And after they sourced all the funding for the desalination, the ANC guys did not build the plant. They kept the money, and it made them look good at the end of the 10-year and say, oh, we managed to save 6 billion, so the Western Cape is doing well because this is what we did. But meanwhile, they were supposed to use that money to build a plant, and they didn't. But there has been a lot of debate that has gone around. Collectively, the farmers are looking at ways of conserving. Even some of the guys that actually started even collecting the dew that comes in the morning, finding ways of how to collect it and save it for irrigation a little bit later. And a lot of them, almost 95% of the people who were using municipal water have started drilling boreholes. I know that for a fact because I spoke to like 6 or 7 guys who were like, listen, we've started drilling boreholes now, just in case this happens in future. Boreholes, all of them are getting into that step up, yeah.
Okay, it's actually it's a bit of a surprising talk to me because actually at the end of the line, would you say there's more advantages to the climate change than disadvantages, or would you say this is threatening the wine industry in Stellenbosch?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. What was the question?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So it sounds actually not too bad. Like I really thought this would be a big drama for the Stellenbosch region, like this whole draft, but it sounds more like an opportunity than really like an existential threat that will kill the industry.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to kill the industry at the moment. It is a drama, but it's a drama which, I mean, like I said, Stellenbosch, Wellington, those areas, they'd always had their I mean, you've seen a lot of the wineries, especially as you go, they always have these little dams, these little lakes and stuff. It just helped to soften the blow. But if the drought extends to this year, then it's going to be a huge drama.
What will happen then?
Then it's going to be a huge. I mean, just bear in mind that the blow was softened because they had these dams and lakes that they had, which some of them started running out. But by the time they started running out, it was at a time when a lot of the grapes were dormant. They didn't need the rain. Because the whole idea is you don't need the rain in November, December, January, February. You don't need the rain at that time. Yes, if you have rain once in a while, you irrigate, but that's the time when you want the grapes to be focused on ripening. So that's how they managed to, instead of irrigating twice a week, for example, they were irrigating once a week. Instead of irrigating for an hour, they were irrigating for 30 minutes. So that helped to soften it. But the water levels of their dams and even the borehole levels, the water table is going down. So once that goes down, and that if we don't get rain this time, then the effect is going to be felt at least twice as hard as it was last year. And that's when you're going to see the yield is going to go really, really low. Because when the farmers want the rain, they want the rain mostly in winter. So you want the rain in May, June, April, May, June, July, August. That's when you want the most of the rain. And then less rain in months like September and all that time. September, October, November, less rain. You want less rain, yeah. Sometimes they don't even want to see the rain in January and February because that will push your harvest longer. It raises the acidity, the sugars slow down. So instead of harvesting in January, you end up having to wait. I mean, apparently about 5 millimeters of rain in February will make you change your harvest by at least a minimum week to 10 days.
Wow.
So those are times where people don't want to see the rain, you know?
Wow, so that impact can be massive.
Yeah.
Okay. Are people responding to this different? Because they also said, well, there's some guys that just take like Californian clones kind of for Cap Sauvignon or Tempranillos and they just put it in Stellenbosch. But I can imagine that if you're this guy owning this farm for like years, maybe even ages, that you can't just simply change the old recipe of the family, right? So is there a tension between the traditional vineyards and maybe the more newer ones, like a Glenelly or whatnot, like those new trendy things that just get bought by the millionaires versus the old ones?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things is you also, I mean, if you should know, I mean, planting a new varietal, it means you have to wait about 7 years for it to start yielding a good crop to have a decent wine, 7 to 10 years. So a lot of the people have only lately been trying to turn to that. But you find the old existing traditional wineries are the hardest to change.
Yeah.
They deliberately do not want to change their recipes. Again, it has to do with the consistency. Because a lot of these wines are still popular now because of the consistency they've had. And to start changing those varietals and the clones, it is going to have an impact on how people perceive your wine. Naturally, I mean, business is business. Some people I can tell you are probably changing and they're just not telling the truth and pretending it's the same stuff. But the newer guys, especially the younger guys, if you see like the guys in Swartland with the evolution and stuff, they're the ones who are leading with all this innovative and more resistant stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's interesting. So, and the traditional ones, what would they then do to keep up? Because obviously, yeah, sorry?
The traditional guys are still, some of them are experimenting, they're still growing. Some of them are experimenting. You find a lot of them, what they do sometimes is, you find a good example is the Trafford or even Glenelly. Glenelly was the Winery of Good Hope. What they've done is, they have the traditional plantings which are on their site. And then they buy another plot somewhere else with the different clones.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got in Stellenbosch on their estate wines, their Syrah, the traditional stuff. Then they bought a plot in Wellington, which they plant, like say the American or the other different clones there, and then they use those later as blending components, or they just bottle it like that also.
Okay. Is there something with the estates too? Because this is a special type of governance, right, in the South African wine industry, that you have all these estates. Are they bound to specific rules and stuff, or are you free to do whatever you want on an estate?
Well, the main rules on your estate is if you're going to declare your winery an estate, your wine an estate wine, it means you have to grow the grapes on the farm, make the wine on the site, and bottle it on the site.
Okay.
Then you can call it an estate. So you'll find, for instance, what some guys do, you will see that on the label, it will be written, like it will be written the Trafford, and it won't be written estate. It will just be written winery of, wine of Hermanus origin, but the winery is the Trafford in Stellenbosch. So you should not write on it estate wine.
So this could be the end of the estates, right? If you start like growing a new variety somewhere in Wellington, but then add it to the Glenelly wine, for example, or New Hope.
Yeah, the growing trend, I mean, people have also realized, again, if you touch back even before the climate was changing, you had to do more with the little microclimate. Everybody knows that good Sauvignon Blanc comes from a cooler region. And most of the Sauvignon Blancs that were making a lot of tracks were from Elgin and Hermanus. So what already established estates were doing, a lot of the traditional established, like the Delay Graf, which is got some wines which are in the top